Yay. I hope you get it. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. It's a great book. All right, so good. I'm streaming on all platforms now. So, hey, everyone on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Hey, y'all. So, we're going to be talking about a recent article that I read on Yahoo Finance about 3.8 million renters facing eviction in the next couple of months. Now, we hear all these things, right, about what's going on with the economy. We've seen great news about the stock market. We've seen overall news about the stock market. We've seen things about hiring freezes. We've been seeing things about layoffs. We've been seeing things about people who are hiring, right? But at the end of the day, the data is going to suggest what the data suggests. And the fact remains that inflation has caused a lot of problems for a lot of people. And one of the places where it has hit the hardest has been in the housing market, right? So we're seeing where the average cost of rent is now up over $2,000, where pre-pandemic, we were not seeing this as our average annual or our average monthly cost for rent. And so now with that being up over 2,000, we have our cost of living not being the income that we're making not being adjusted for the cost of living, right? We see that at most raises are going up by 3%, yet inflation is still over 8%, dare I say, over really reflected in the markets over 10, 12%. We look at the grocery stores, most things are up over 13%, but overall as an economy, the data suggests that inflation is currently at 8.5%. So we have all these things that are stacking up against what we would like to see on a daily basis, whether that be at the gas pump or whether that be in housing costs. Now, I know many people have started to see the decrease in the amount of gas they've been paying. Do y'all remember I did a reel on that about a month or two ago, and I was talking about how the average cost of the barrels has been going down. And so you should be seeing some decreases at the pump. Well, we're not seeing decreases in any other state besides California is a decrease in what people are paying in rent. So with the average income being $56,000 a year and the average cost of rent being over $2,000, this leaves us with the math not mathing, because that means that people are nearly paying half of their salary just to have a place to stay. Now, we're not even talking about renter's insurance, car notes, car insurance, childcare, groceries. We're not talking about any of this, utilities. We're just talking about simply having a roof over your head is becoming too expensive for 3.8 million Americans. And so, what this is looking like is people have been falling behind on paying their rent or their utilities, and they're now having to face some tough decisions because those little periods of time that they gave you to say, hey, you can't evict anyone, well, those are going away. So now companies are able to evict people, right? And so now what you have to start facing is saying, okay, well, if I'm in this situation, what is there out there to help me? Because my job isn't giving me any more money. Everything keeps going up. So it's not really my fault that this is happening to me, but how do I fight back at this? Because at the end of the day, bare minimum, I'm going to need a roof over my head so I can continue to go to work to pay these bills, right? So it's not necessarily your fault if you're experiencing this. There's things that are just happening with the economy. But, I'm still going to go into some daily decisions that we make around money that we definitely have to start questioning. So that's coming. But let me give you all the resources that are going to help you first. Okay. So if you're someone who's struggling with this, I need you to start looking at the local level and the state level to get the help that you need. So they do have rental assistance programs. These programs can help you with past rent that you've owed, and it can go back to March 13th of 2020. Okay. Current rent, if you're struggling to keep that bill paid, and future rent. So maybe you're saying, hey, listen, I'm really experiencing a tough time right now. I need like 3 to 6 months of help. If they have the funding and they can offer you the funding and they see that you definitely need the help, they will give it to you. Now, let's say, you haven't had your lawsuit filed yet. So you're trying to see what your options are. All right, let's talk about that. So again, I already talked about rent and utilities. Let's say you're covering rent, but your utilities are behind, right? So let's say the water bill is way behind, your gas, your power bill, all that stuff is way behind. You can still reach out to the same rental assistant companies, and they will help you catch up on your past due bills, whether that be any utility bill that you have, internet bills that you may have, because they know that if it's a household associated cost, okay, that they can include that in their program. So maybe you're just getting by with rent, but maybe you still need help in some other areas. As long as it's a household associated cost, they can help you with that, okay? Then you want to talk with your landlord about making a repayment plan. So there may be a good number of you who have private homeowners who you're paying your rent to. Listen, y'all, a lot of people try to pretend like everything is okay, but if it's not okay, just acknowledge it and say that you need the help. You will be surprised what companies are going to tell you in return if you just simply ask. Now, if you've gotten to the habitual habit of taking advantage of that, and now you're going to be standing with your back against the wall because you've taken advantage of this system for so long, then at this point you may be looking at a true eviction. Now, if you're looking at a true eviction, the same rental assistant programs can also help you if you are being evicted. So we talked about avoiding eviction. Now let's talk about if you're actually getting evicted. Okay, so if you're actually getting evicted, some of the things that you can do is these programs, they have funding to locate you into a motel or a hotel and pay that for you until you're able to get relocated into a new place. And so what this looks like is your application fee, right? Any type of background stuff they need to do that is going to come out of cost for out of pocket for you. Any filing fees, any of that stuff, they will cover that for you. Okay, your security deposit, they'll pay that for you as well. So don't feel like, oh well, because I'm facing an eviction or I'm truly being evicted, there are no other options. They will pay for your cost to move. So I've seen, like back in the day when I used to live in apartments, right, I've seen people just have their stuff thrown out because they've gotten evicted, and they're looking at it like, okay, well, that was everything that I had. So what am I going to do now? You know, you have other resources out there, and I need y'all to start exercising on these resources because the funding is there. So take advantage of the funding. All right. And then you want to find out about state and local protection. So some states and local areas have rules that could delay your eviction, okay, while you get the help that you need. So just because you may have gotten notice of eviction, just because you got the notice does not mean that that's your true eviction. So make sure that you're reaching out at the state or local level and finding out what your options are. Maybe your landlord is giving you an official eviction date. However, if you reach out through these if you reach out through the state and local level and you find out what the rules are behind them, then they can potentially delay whatever your true eviction date is. All right. So if an eviction has been filed against you, now this is where it benefits you to be a service member, because if your rent is less than $4,214.28 a month as of this year, and you are active military, okay, then that means that they cannot evict you. All right. You and your dependents cannot be evicted from a residential home during your military service, and your property cannot be seized as payment of rent unless there is a court order against you. So for all of my service members, if y'all are struggling out there, and you know, at least that's there to protect you if eviction has been filed. All right. And then even still, you can still get help with the utilities and all that, because just because you've been evicted from one place doesn't mean that you don't need to find another place to live. So at least they can help you get caught up on the things that you've already owed on. All right. And then you also want to learn from the courts. So understand that you have the right to file a written answer explaining to the court why you should not be evicted. Okay. And then you also want to know how long you have to file an answer from the date that the summon is received. And then you want to check to see if there is a court date and if you can get an extension on the court date, because an extension on the court date also means gives you more time before you have to officially be out. Okay. And then does the court offer mediation or provide referrals to housing counselors? Okay. And then it says if the court has ruled that you can be evicted, this is where you want to start looking for legal help. Okay, now there are states with eviction protections and expiration dates. So if you live in Indiana, there's no expiration date or for those protections, so you're good to go. Massachusetts, you've got until the 31st of 2023, May 31st of 2023. Michigan, no expiration date for protections. Nevada, you're protected until June 5th of 2023. New Jersey, no expiration date for protections, neither New Mexico or New York. And then in Texas, you have until September 1st of 2022. So if y'all know anybody in Texas, I need y'all to get them on the phone and let them know if they got this going on, they need to start getting some extensions with the courts. They need to start looking at some local and state programs, because here we are, August 29th. So come September 1st, 2022, if you live in Texas, you might be in some trouble. Okay, so make sure that you're getting this taken care of. And then Washington doesn't have any expiration dates or protections, or for protections either. So these are some things that y'all can do if you are facing eviction. If it's been filed or it hasn't been filed, I went over some things that are going to help you. The main thing is please always be aware of what your rights are. It's important that you know that. It's important to know that you can always file for an extension. Okay. And don't just take what is given to you on a piece of paper for what it is. You always want to do your own research, reach out to the necessary parties you need to reach out to, see what extensions are available, and just don't get yourself caught in a situation to where the roof that you do have over your head is taken from you, primarily because maybe you didn't open your mouth and try to get the help that you needed, or maybe you didn't reach out to enough places, or, maybe you just didn't take heed to everything that's going on. But you can get help with your utilities, you can get help with your rent, you can get help with past rent, future rent, you can get help with past utility bills, present utility bills, future utility bills, your internet. Don't take what's going on with the economy lightly. All right, I've been telling y'all for the longest now about hiring freezes, layoffs, what's truly going on with the investment markets, versus these rallies that we've been seeing. I've been going over this with y'all for a long, long time. And a true indicator of what's going on with our economy is situations like this. Why is it that we are looking at 3.8 million Americans facing future eviction? Why are we looking at this? Why are we seeing this? Inflation is a huge cause of this. Them doing away with landlords not being able to evict people is a cause of this, right? Cost of living going up and wages not increasing is a cost of this. There's a lot of factors, but when you see the data play itself out, these are the type of things that you're going to be looking at. Okay, so I would encourage you to take advantage of these programs if you need the help. If not, share it with someone, share the information with someone so that they can get the help that they need. I will be on Fox Soul tomorrow. They asked me to come back. I'm super excited. And we're going to be going over investing for newbies. So for those of you who aren't aware, I taught an investment stock class, stock 101 class. I taught it August the 13th. That class sold out, 100 seats sold out in like a week and a half. I ended up having a death in the family, so that's why you guys haven't seen much of me at all on social media. I took some time to be with family and all of those things. And so now that I'm back home, I'm, back active with social media and all that. So I will be on Fox Soul tomorrow. Super excited to talk about investing, talk about the market, talk about fundamental and technical analysis at a very simple level so that new investors can start to position themselves in the market. And I'm also teaching my very last live class on investing, on stock investing 101. After that, it will just be sold recordings. But as it stands, this is my very last class that I'll be doing. And the only reason why I'm doing it live this last time is because I've gotten so many good reviews from the live class, and there's so many people who couldn't get a seat in the last class that I decided to go ahead and redo that. So September the 3rd, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be teaching this class the final time live. After that, you'll get the recording. So we're going to go over everything in relation to the market. We're going to go over key terminology. We're going to go over fundamental analysis, technical analysis, when to place a trade, how to place a trade, when to sell, the things that you need to really be understanding inside of the stock market when you're looking at investing. Because I see a lot of social media hype, but I thought the best way to navigate around social media hype is I'm actually going to be sharing with you one of my personally managed portfolios. So I log into it. I let you see the unrealized gains versus the unrealized losses. I'll let you ask any questions you want around the portfolio. I'm really quizzing you guys on the basics of technical analysis by doing chart markups, by making sure that you understand the chart markups. So this type of mentorship in the class that I'm offering, you won't find anywhere for $39.99. And that's just how much the class costs. That's it. That's all I decided to charge on it. So as it stands, I announced this class one time. The one that I'm selling on the 3rd, I announced it, twice. And over 30 seats have been grabbed. I stopped talking about it because I stopped being on live because I was with family. However, the class is on September the 3rd. If you want to grab a seat, link is in my bio. I definitely recommend you guys to grab a seat if you're interested in learning. Outside of that, all of the ladies who are in my community, as you can tell, I don't save any of my lives. The ladies in the communities get the lives. They get any class I teach for free that non-members have to pay for. They get weekly coaching calls. They get accountability calls. They have their own automated coursework on the back end. They've got game nights. We give money to the ladies. We give money to the community. So it's really cool to be a bougie bestie within Bougie and Balanced University. So if you're wondering about joining, I definitely encourage you to join because you guys just have so many perks being in the community. But did you guys have any questions in relation to what we're talking about? 3.8 million people. Absolutely ridiculous. 3.8 million people facing eviction. If any of you would like the links of not only the article that I was reading from, but if you would like the links to get help, just message me. I'll be sure to send you a Google Doc that has all the links that I went over today so that you can have those. And hopefully you share it with somebody else who needs that help. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, that's going to, let me see, any help for people with mortgages. Oh, you know what, sis? As far as I know in this very moment, I do know that they had some sort of where you could take like current mortgage and put it at the back end of your overall what was owed, so that like they kind of gave you some grace periods in there. I do know they did have that for some time. I will do some research for you and I will include it in that Google Doc on what resources are available for those who do have a mortgage to pay. Okay. Let me see. But yeah, how much is the membership to join the community? So the community is only $30 a month. There is a a registration fee, but that's so you can get like your welcome gift in the mail and all that fun stuff. But outside of that, it's just $30 a month. Any help for people with mortgages? Okay, I answered that. All right. Any questions from any of my other streams? I see I've got some people watching here. Thank you, Wilson. I appreciate you. Sweet. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for your condolences. You know, it's just death does something, I'm sure, to everyone. It just makes you really realize how valuable, how precious, how short the time is that we have. And, you know, my great aunt, she passed. She was 92 years old when she passed. And she lived a phenomenal life, you know. And I used to sit and have story times with her and she would just talk. And y'all know when old folks get to talking, they talk. And so I felt really blessed that I was able to just listen to her stories and listen to the things that she shared, because once those pieces of history are gone, they're gone forever. Once, you know, her perspective of history is gone, that's forever gone. Once my Granny Bert's perspective of history was gone, that's it. And so I really take it to heart and I value the things that I can learn from my elders. And so I'm sitting there and I'm in North Georgia. I'm with all the other Curtises. And y'all, just to put things into perspective, okay, I'm 5'9" and I'm literally the smallest Curtis. I'm 5'9" and I'm literally the smallest Curtis. So like all my aunties who are Curtises, they're like a good 6 something. Okay, so it's just a big family, big tall family. And if you know anything about Calhoun, Georgia, it's not the most diverse. It's not the most diverse area. So to know that all those generations of Curtises, that's where they came from, and to know like my grandfather became this impactful person from that area, and he did a lot with um, you know, interracial stuff in the school systems and sports, and to know he wanted to become like this huge entrepreneur, and he bought my granny Bert, you know, like her home, and helped build the church that's up there that all the Curtises and the Tates are buried at, is just wild to me. So, you know, being there and listening to all those stories about just my elders who have now become my ancestors, it's very, very eye-opening. And yeah, it makes me sad because I'm like, dang, I have so much work to do. I feel like I have a lot of work to do. But that's just me. So anywho, so yeah, it was good being there, and just getting that love. That type of love is just different, you know, when you get to be around your elders. It's a different kind of love. So it was nice. So I took some time to come off social media to do that and to be with family. So I appreciate y'all for welcoming me back. I appreciate you guys for not having me skip a beat, because y'all do mean the world to me as well. Okay, so let me make sure here. What if you've already been evicted? Any help with homeless housing? Okay, so great question. Someone said, what if you've already been evicted? Is there any help with homeless housing? Yes. So there are local programs that will help put you into either a motel or a hotel, and they will pay for you to stay at that location forever, for how much ever funding that they give you. But during that time, while it is funded, they also help you with any application fees, any security deposits. If you do need help with rent when you do get a place, they help you with those things, utilities, internet costs, all of that. So the best thing that you can do is to search for your specific area. So if you needed rental assistance, let's say you're in the Atlanta area, just put rental assistance, Atlanta, Georgia. The things that they're going to ask you for on these applications, though, they're going to need to see that you are already actively past due on something. So whether that's actively past due on a utility bill, actively past due on your rent, they're going to need to see proof of that. And so if you have a hard time generating proof of it, then that's when you're going to run into some issues. Okay, but if you have proof that you're behind on one of those things and you submit your application in, then you should get approved. There are some areas that are not taking any new applications. If I'm not mistaken, it was Nebraska and New Jersey. If I'm not mistaken, let me double check real quick. I do not want to give out false information. Let me see. Let me see. Yep. Okay. Nebraska and Arkansas have refused to accept the federal rent assistance money. So, okay, Dana, I see you in class, girl. Okay, so Nebraska and Arkansas have refused to accept the federal rent assistance money. So if you live in either those two states, then you're not going to be getting any help, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean that you can't find other ways to find assistance. So maybe that assistance will come through food and grocery benefits. Maybe it'll come through some other federally funded programming. But just because one option is not available does not mean that that's where you stop. You go and you look for the help that you need. All right. Okay. He grants overwhelming victory to us and never allows anything to separate us from his love. Amen, crew. Romans 8:35 through 39. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, well, that's all I got for you. Okay, hey, Miss Lanny, Miss Danny Lab. I emailed you for more information. Yes, ma'am. I'll be sure to get that over to you. If anybody wants these resources, let me know of what I've been reading. I'm more than happy to share them with you. But I have to go cook dinner for my babies. It is a school night, so it is definitely a chicken, rice, and probably collard greens type of night for me and my kids. So y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you for everyone who bought a book. I really appreciate you all. Thank you for those who registered for class. And Again, if you need the help, please reach out and get the help that you need from one of these local or state programs. And if you want the articles that I've been reading, send me a message. Until next time, y'all, talk to you later. Bye.